who I think definitionally would be a pedophile, to have done zero damage to Aisha, which is in conforming with the Muslim lantern conditions of, quote, not hurting the girl. In this case, I would say Muhammad's penis would only be able to be roughly 1.8 inches in order to not actually 1.8 damage this woman. 1.8 inches.
I like how he's totally deadpan the entire time. It's just matter of fact. Wait. Hang on. Let's go back. AP.
That was a very good delivery, honestly. That was a very good delivery there.
Hey, let's go back. I don't know if you can see Sneeko. What sucks is Sneeko's he's got himself really small, no pun intended, up there. But Sneeko's, but watch Sneeko's face when Andrew's discussing this stuff. Sneeko's, look at Sneeko. Look at Sneeko. Once he sees where he's going, look at Sneeko's face. This is Andrew talking about. Once Sneeko sees where he's going, look at Sneeko trying not to bust out laughing up there. All right. So I went back. But
again, we're just talking about averages.
Everyone focus on Sneeko.
I'm going to put these side by side so that you can understand the distinction here. You see he's 5.5 inches. You see this is 2 inches. Okay. To express what this looks like in comparison, it's very important that you visually understand this.
Look at Sneeko.
In order for Muhammad, who I think definitionally would be a pedophile, to have done...
That's Sneeko covering his face to cover up his smile.
He's suppressing his laugh, and that's funny.
When this guy's talking about Muhammad having a sub 2-inch penis.
It's okay, Sneeko. It's okay. Just laugh, man. It's okay.
Yeah, and the idea here is, and this isn't Andrew just making something up. He's saying for me to take you guys seriously, that this would do no damage to a prepubescent girl, this wouldn't damage her, then you have to say that Muhammad had a sub 2-inch penis. That's the only way around it. If you think he was average, then he would have done some serious damage to her. So take your pick. It's a new Islamic dilemma, everyone.
Zero damage to Aisha, which is in conforming with the Muslim lantern conditions of, quote, not hurting the girl. In this case, I would say Muhammad's penis would only be able to be roughly 1.8 inches in order to not actually 1.8 damage this woman. 1.8 inches.
Oh, man.
Now, the reason for that is because we have the medical documentation of what is vaginal tearing and what vaginal tearing would be inside the wife. If he was anywhere even close to the average, this would cause severe damage. So we either have to conclude the damage threshold that ML is talking about here is much different than how ML presents it, or that Muhammad had a way smaller than average penis. I'm willing to accept either correction.
Take your pick, Muslim Lander. What sucks is, if I recall, Muslim Lander never answers this. But it's simple. Take your pick. If you're saying Muhammad did not damage Aisha when he had sex with her, what are you saying? The only way that works, the only way the math works, is if Muhammad had a sub 2-inch penis. If you're saying he was just even average, it would have done damage to a girl with a 2-inch vaginal canal. Would have done damage.
I have to be honest. What? Usually when I see this Andrew Wilson guy, I always think, what a jerk. But this is pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. He comes up with creative stuff. But I mean, people would call us a jerk. He is a jerk. People would think we're a jerk. We're jerks.
No, I think he's actually a bad person. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he may be. I don't know. I've only seen. I'm trying to think if I've seen anything of him apart from the Dillahunty debate where Dillahunty rage quit, or this one where Andrew Wilson rage quits. Well, you could say it's not rage quitting. They tried to agree on some rules and they couldn't agree, so he said he's not interested. But look at Sneeko there. Sneeko's still grinning here. All right.
further demonstrate the truth of this claim, you can find more info on this in The Growth of the Birth Canal in Adolescent Girls. This is done by Marquisa Lavelle. She's a PhD. She goes further into why pregnancy at a young age is generally damaging to a woman, but it's also demonstrating the physiology in the difference of canals and the difference in penis length, the difference in vaginal length when it comes to people engaging with child brides. She goes into various problems of the pelvis during childbirth for prepubescent girls. And here, if you'll humor me, I'm going to give you some highlights. Again, trying to keep this somewhat brief. The size of the birth canal is smaller in the first 3 years, even past the first age of the period, than at age 18 years old. That's why we have a standard for this, by the way. People pretend it's arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. We have standards for a reason. If you even go,
Guys, did you catch that? Because that was actually an important response there. So he's talking about as far as the length of a woman's vaginal canal. He said that when it is finally grown to normal like adult size is around 18. And so he says, when we're talking about 18, so this would be in addition to all of the issues that someone like Inspiring Philosophy would bring up, the research he would bring up, that there's this is something else. This is something that is in addition to that. And so Sneeko is always pushing the issue. Why 18? Why 18? And I'll agree, there's some wiggle room in terms of there's not like, oh, on this side of the line, you're a girl, a young girl, and this side of the line, you're an adult woman, because girls do develop at different rates and so on. It's when you're looking at the data on averages, things tend to be significantly better around the age of 18. So that's actually a response. That's actually a response to stuff that Sneeko points out pretty frequently. All right.
By region, this is true. Basically, all over the world, this is true, that prepubescent girls are still going through puberty. And so their canals are growing properly. At 18, only minor differences are observable in the size of the birth canal. This is important. At 18, only minor differences are between women. In any way substantial in the birth canal. Although girls with early periods are appreciably shorter and heavier, their late maturing counterparts at this age, there really is no distinct or huge variable difference. That's why waiting until that age is usually a good idea. She goes into the various problems of this. Now, to be clear, my job is to to attack this position. His job is to defend it, okay? I need you to understand that I'm not.
Quick response here to our Muslim friend Adam C., who brings up the astounding objection: 1 + 1 + 1 = question mark. Well, if you're just doing straightforward mathematics, Adam C., 1 + 1 + 1 would equal 3. As in if you're talking about the Trinity, one person plus one person plus one person equals 3 persons. So if you're just talking about math, 1 + 1 + 1 would equal 3. However, if you include units, then you can get different results. So for instance, 1 inch plus 1 inch plus 1 inch would be a penis 50% bigger than your profits. Got it? Want to go down this road? Back to Andrew.
I'm going to go with any whataboutisms. So if you say, what about the Christians, though? It's irrelevant. That is for me to defend in the next portion of the debate on the Trinity. This is purely for him to defend the Islamic position on underage marriage. It is not to do whataboutism. It is not to say, what about the Christians, though? What about them over there, though? That's all logically fallacious argumentation designed specifically to obfuscate away from the points which are being made, which is the justification inside of the Islamic worldview for why it's okay to have sexual intercourse with girls as young as 7, 8, 9 years old, why that's okay, why that's moral from their paradigm. I do not have to defend a paradigm here. It's not important that I defend a paradigm here. It's only important he defends his. The paradigm I'm defending is the Trinity in the next debate. So he can ask whatever questions that he wants in regards to clarification on what it is that I'm asking him, but it is not at all pertinent in any way, shape, or form. Whatever he thinks the Christian belief on this is, that is not what I'm here to defend. He is here to defend the Islamic paradigm. With that, I'll yield my time.
All right, so Andrew, it's interesting. He didn't go any of the normal paths that people go. He came up with his own unique argument there. Pretty interesting addition to the already powerful arsenals we had against Muhammad's relationship with Aisha. There at the end, however, he's trying to avoid what in logic is called the tu quoque fallacy. But that's the "and you also" fallacy. So in other words, if you say to someone, "Hey, you just lied," they're like, "Oh, but you've lied too." Okay, that it's considered a fallacy because even if I've lied, that does not justify you lying. So defend why you lied, or explain why you lied, or change your mind about why you lied. Saying someone else is a liar or that someone else has lied does not fix what you just did. And so he says that he isn't interested in defending any particular perspective on here other than leaving them with this dilemma. If you say that not harming a girl is your rule, then you have to say that Muhammad had a sub 2-inch penis. Apart from that, if you don't want to say that your prophet had a sub 2-inch penis, you would have to say that he did damage her, and so he did harm her, and therefore he would violate your own principle. So take your pick. And so he's saying, hey, Muslim Lantern, answer this without just saying, "Oh, but you know, King so-and-so in 1370 married some girl and she was 11. Ha ha! You see?" Because that would just be stupid. In other words, what actual good response do the dawah guys have to the issue of child marriage? What do they say? Rebecca was 3. That's a lie. Mary was 12. That's a lie. And by the way, little side note, even if Rebecca were 3, she wasn't. But if she were 3, we would not say, therefore it's fine to have sex with a 3-year-old. We would not say that. We would say Isaac was screwed up. He shouldn't have done that. That's what we would say. That's what we would say. So there's no scenario where he makes his point and we go, "Oh, therefore it's okay to have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl." There's nothing. They have no argument that even if we agreed with everything they're saying, it would never get them to. Therefore, from our perspective, from a Christian perspective, there's nothing wrong with having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. There's no path there, which means that there's no actual way to respond, and therefore that it's all smoke and mirrors. There's all smoke and mirrors. There's no example that they're giving that could be used to defend their prophet from a Christian perspective, from anyone else's perspective. And so it's all just smokescreen. It's all smokescreen, smoke and mirrors. So Andrew wanted to avoid that. He said, "I'm not here to defend any position. I don't want to defend a position like this. We are here to debate this." And he even said, in our debate on the Trinity, which was supposed to be after this, but they never got to it. He even said, in the Trinity debate, if we're talking about whether the Trinity is coherent, I'm not going to point to anything in Islam. I have to show that my view is coherent. I'm not going to point to anything in Islam. So that's his perspective. And Muslim Lantern's perspective is, no, I get to hold you. I get to demand consistency from you. I get to demand consistency. So if you're saying it's wrong, then you have to answer these things. That's his position. And both these guys are right in a way. If a topic is whether this is acceptable morally or whether this is coherent or something like that, then you kind of have to defend that. And pointing out if someone else is incoherent or something like that, that's not changing that. So he's right insofar as that is concerned. Muslim Lantern is correct that if the other person is applying completely inconsistent standards and so on, that could be something that you would want to point out. The real issue here is the dawah guys do not show that anyone's being inconsistent on this point. The stuff that there's a reason they have to lie and say Rebecca was 3 and the Catholic Encyclopedia says Mary was 12. There's a reason they have to make all this stuff up. It's because they don't have anything they can actually point to and say, here's why you, as a Christian or an atheist or whatever, should agree that it's okay to have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. They just have nothing. They have nothing. And so it's all smoke and mirrors. And so that's what we're left with. But let's go and see what they're going here. Any thoughts, AP? Any thoughts, AP, before I go on?
No, it's just as you said, it's not very much in line with what you usually would expect from a debate on this topic. Focused on a very different aspect that I would not go into. I would say that the only good part about it, I would say, is that it addressed the size or the anatomy of Muhammad.
And by the way, that's kind of, here's the thing. I mean, I don't actually want to help these guys, but I'm confident that they're not going to listen to me. So I can just say it so that everyone understands, even though they won't. They'll keep doing the same stupid things over and over again because they're the worst tacticians on the planet. Look at Muslim Lantern. Look at Muslim Lantern right there. He thinks, I'm about to say, but in Christianity, whatever he's going to say, but you know Rebecca, but you know that Mary, but the Catholic Encyclopedia. I don't even remember what he's going to say. He's going to say some of that stuff, though. But he's going to say that kind of stuff. And I'm answering, not realizing no one's going to agree with you. No Christian is going to say, this dawah guy says Rebecca was 3, therefore she's 3, right? No one's going to say that. And so what's the actual takeaway at the end of this? The takeaway at the end of this is that from now on and forever, Muslim Leonard, because you did this, everyone's going to go around. Watch, mark my words. Everyone's going to be going around from now on saying Muhammad had a 1.8-inch penis. That's always going to be a thing right now. It's always going to be a thing. Whenever, from now on, watch, from now on, whenever someone raises the objection, but why did your prophet have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl? And you say, but it's okay because it didn't harm her. What is everyone going to say after this? They're going to say, so your prophet had a 1.8-inch penis then, eh? Or was it smaller? Or do you agree that he damaged her? Take your pick. Everyone's going to be saying that. So, Muslim Leonard, no one walked out of here agreeing with you who didn't already agree with you. But from now on and forever, this is going to be raised to make fun of your prophet. And you have no way of answering it. This is what you guys keep doing. You keep ticking people off. You keep ticking off the wrong people. They come up with new ways to make fun of your prophet. And then we have more ways of making fun of your prophet. And it's fun. And then you haven't gained any ground. You've just given other people more ways of making fun of your prophet. How, in the name of common sense, do you think that's a brilliant dawah strategy? I don't know, but keep up the good work, my friend. What are you laughing at?
The thing is Muslim Lantern, I guess the only... I'm not entirely sure. I'm not familiar with the guy. I haven't watched a single thing from him. All I see from him is I saw clips, like seconds of clips occasionally, and I see that he has this whole calm and reasonable and friendly attitude, which turned out to be a little bit deceitful. I saw what he did after he debated Jay Dyer. He actually published a manipulated, edited video to make Jay Dyer look bad because the debate was so terrible on his behalf. But I don't know. It seems like the guy actually texted me or he emailed me a long time ago and asked me to have a debate with Sheikh Uthman, and I said, yeah, sure. It was like, oh, wait a minute. Actually, Sheikh Uthman said he doesn't want to debate you. I was like, okay, are you joking, man? But I haven't seen anything good from him so far. Maybe I should ask him to have a discussion with me, a reasonable discussion.
Yeah, I'm our good friend Adam C here, who just keeps keeps whining about things over here. Now he's just saying Muhammad had 8 inches. Prove me wrong. Okay, that's the sort of offensive language that we're not going to tolerate here. So you just got blocked, Adam C. You just got blocked, Adam C, trying to divert this serious discussion into some stupid bragging about. Now think about this. If we took Adam C seriously here, Muhammad had 8 inches, and okay, you penetrated a prepubescent 9-year-old girl with a 2-inch vaginal canal. And you're saying he used 8 inches against her. No. So anyway, it's possible, but then you'd have to say that Muhammad did massive damage to Aisha, like massive, horrible damage to Aisha. That's what you'd have to say. But we don't want to say that. I mean, if Muhammad was somehow able to have sex with her, we do not believe that he had 8 inches, unless you're talking about what he had from Diha al-Kalbi. All right, so now we're going to have Muslim Lantern. Let's take a couple super chats real quick, and then we'll jump into Muslim Lantern's brilliant opening statement. And we have the Muslim Lantern looks flabbergasted. Dude loves learning about penis peepees. He sure does. Like, why would you? Guys, again, this is the shocking part. They keep wanting to have this debate. Sneeko is obsessed with having this debate over and over again. Everywhere he goes, hey, would you debate Muhammad Hijab? Would you debate Alex Jones on child marriage? It's so important. They're all defending this like it's the biggest, the most important issue ever. Andrew, your prophet has small PP. That's basically. And guys, think it is an important dilemma. No, either your prophet had a very small PP, or he did damage and violated your own principle that you guys claim to adhere to. So take your pick. At this point, I feel like Sneeko realized he was too impressionable and got caught up with the wrong crowd, and now he's trying to figure a way out. You have to wonder how long Sneeko's going to be able to hang on, though, with all this, because he's seeing it. Imagine worshiping another man so much while advocating crane hanging, have to visualize him having a thick pole to feel masculine and justified. Something like that. Andrew should have said, trying to keep it brief, just like Muhammad's pee-pee. That would have been funny. Buddy Rabbit, 1 + 1 + 1 = 1.8. Yep, that's Islamic math there. Buddy Rabbit, the dilemma I'm having is deciding which one I like more, Insalah or Inshallah. Inshallah. Oh, Inshallah. We can't keep doing this. Lol, I'm struggling, brothers. Pray for me. This is what dawah. Is there nothing else we could be discussing right now? No, the dawah guys have to keep putting us in this scenario over and over again, where they will say something completely ridiculous and disgusting and get into these discussions, and people will keep pointing out to us that we need to discuss it too. And we're fine with it. What is going on in this world? Grown men, assuming none of them is a virgin, know exactly what sex is, argue for sex with 6 and 9, 12 and 14, and Sneeko's a debater, intellectual. I wouldn't consider him an intellectual.
But he's a big intellectual, man. He's an intellectual powerhouse.
Intellectual powerhouse. You heard it here, folks. Is Michael?
I compare him kind of. I would say that Sneeko is kind of the William Lane Craig of Islam, or the Richard Dawkins of Islam, or something like that.
Yeah, he is. He's an intellectual powerhouse. Is micro meat haram? Never mind. The issue is just too small to address. This is sad. 1.8 inches equals 4.572 centimeters. Do you see last 2 digits? 72. 72. Muhammad had the original Vienna sausage. He had the original little cannoli. So you're saying to start a number 2 on Twitter, and we will stop the number if jihadis stops killing people. I'm down. Yeah, so this is on them. This is another weapon in our arsenal of making fun of their. Again, Muslim Lantern does not understand. I really made a powerful case for child marriage. No, you just gave everyone an opportunity to make fun of your prophet. Thank you. What are other arguments than no harm is there for Islam? As far as this issue, the only other response is really for people who don't believe in the Sunni hadith collections. Right? So if you're a Shia or something like this, or if you reject the hadiths about Aisha, then you don't have a lot to go on, and you don't know how old she was. You'd still be stuck with Surah 65, verse 4 of the Quran, but you can reinterpret that if you want. So as far as Sunnis, especially the dawah guys, who acknowledge that Aisha was 6 when Muhammad married her, consummated the marriage at 9, they can't even say that you have to wait for puberty. So in order to say it's okay, they have to say, but we have this, we just have this thing saying, don't harm others, which there's no way to apply that universally, because they believe in violently subjugating the world and chopping people's heads off and crucifying people and all these things. And so you can't really take it as this blanket command. But in order to figure out what their prophet was doing, they say, this harm principle must have applied. And therefore, when he was waiting from the time she was 6 until the time she was 9, he must have been waiting for a time when she wouldn't be harmed by the sex. So that's what he was doing. And that's why Andrew had a pretty decent response to that.
It's just the evolution of this entire topic. We talked about this before, but it's just historically, since there is no limit, there is no lower limit to an age at which a girl is ready for marriage, Islamically seen. The discussions classically in Islamic morality and jurisprudence revolved around one thing, which was you can betroth a girl at any time, so you can arrange a marriage at any time. However, consummating the marriage, actually having intercourse with that girl, is only permissible if it is if the girl would not be permanently harmed, but the harm there would then only be about destroying the little girl and making her development, making her basically destroying her canals and ruining her and making it impossible to have sex with her in the future. It's not even out of concern of I don't know, harming her in different ways, psychologically harming her, whatever it is. The discussion was just about damaging her during sexual penetration. And if the parents or a religious authority or the husband can make sure or can come to the conclusion that she will not be permanently harmed because that would be damaged goods, then the husband can consummate the marriage. This is really how sick and how disgusting it was classically, and you can find this in Islamic books of jurisprudence. Nowadays, it seems to simply have evolved not very far from that. Just to, no harm. There should be no harm. No harm. Okay, no harm according to who? No harm according to what? No harm by what standard exactly? If we start discussing this, this is again a discussion that leads that doesn't really lead anywhere. That doesn't have proper foundations, proper evidence in Islamic sources. It is relative. It relies on on simply, instead of justifying your reasoning on what is and is not harm, it relies on attacking liberal ideas, attacking Andrew Wilson here, or attacking somebody else and saying, why are you saying 18 should be the age? Why do you think 13 should be the limit? Why do you believe in Western standards of maturity, and so on? This is basically what they're going for, because the reality is that if you go to the Muslim sources, there is no lower limit at all. The Quran does not specify anything. The Hadith do not specify anything. And the Islamic scholars only say there should be no permanent harm, with an exception here. In fact, the ruling was generally the parents are in charge, and they can give their daughter in marriage to a man, no matter the age, at any age. However, as soon as the girl reaches the age of 9, the parents then have to let her go and have to allow the guy to have sex with her, because the age of 9 was the age at which Aisha was when Muhammad had sex with her. So until the age of 9, the parents can still say, we don't think she is ready, so we deny your right to have sex with her. We deny your right to consummate marriage with her. If she reaches the age of 9, then they have no say anymore. So these are some of the standards that you can find in Islamic rulings classically. This is what Islam is. This is how disgusting it is, which is why I think it's great that we talk about this again and again and again.
And quick comment here. Victoria says, I was 9 when I got my first period and was taller than most boys and had the body of a woman. I was not ready to procreate. You're right. because getting your period does not mean you're finished developing. And none of the dawah guys seem to understand the first thing about puberty being a process that takes several years. Their mentality is old enough to bleed, old enough to breed. And keep in mind, those guys are actually better than Muhammad and the Quran, because Muhammad and the Quran do not care about puberty. It specifically says it. So yeah, this is some wild stuff. But yeah, I agree with AP. This is awesome. I mean, guys, if you wonder why the dawah guys are becoming so obsessed with this, they understand the world, the public is finding out about Muhammad, and that it's going to be very difficult for them to portray Muhammad as a pattern of conduct if the entire world is horrified at what he did with a 9-year-old girl. So the old way was to deny this, but now everyone's familiar with the sources. And so the only thing they have left is to just defend it. But they understand that this is like, they have to go all in on this. If they cannot defend this, if they cannot convince people that having sex with a little girl is okay, if they cannot do that, then Muhammad always looks like a bad guy when they're making their case for dawah. So they believe that this is a must-win situation for them. That's why they keep engaging in these discussions and making videos on this and so on. And we love it because we're not going to let them win this one.
Yep.
They keep throwing up lots of smoke. Guess what? We'll get through that, and they're going to be left with defending a child molester. Wild stuff. All right, couple super chats, and we'll check out our boy Muslim Lantern. I'm like you. I wasn't familiar with Muslim Lantern. I must have seen him at some point, but yeah, I'm not impressed. Taking a bath with the sun in this murky water. Be right back. Show some respect. Make it to even 2. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Quit being disrespectful with the 1.8. Just make it an even 2. Show some respect. That's a good idea. Tyler says, Hijab is debating William Lane Craig on the Trinity. Again, given that hijab focuses almost exclusively on rhetoric and so on, that is going to be and Muslims come with not the standard objections that Craig would be familiar with. So, point is, Muhammad hijab will pull some sort of stunt here. He's going to do it. He's going to pull some sort of stunt. He's going to pull some sort of tactic. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be fun to watch. Mini Momo explains so much of his personality. It's the piece of the puzzle we didn't know we were missing. It does explain a lot. Skyscraper philosopher did Andrew Wilson have legit reasons for quitting? We're going to get to that, but yes, they just couldn't agree on the rules for proceeding. He's saying if we're talking about Muhammad's relationship with Aisha, then don't bring up other stuff and tell me I have to defend this king or this or that. No, you show that it's actually okay. And the other side, no, that's because you're running because you don't want to talk about what? You're not going to want to talk about all these other things. Right. He doesn't want to talk about those things in a discussion about whether Muhammad's relationship with Aisha was morally acceptable. So they couldn't agree. And so he said, well, he's not interested in proceeding. Cam says, in our lifetime, 500 million will leave Islam. Hard it here to hear first. Thank God for these dawah guys. These dawah guys are helping us tremendously. Momo's penis was abrogated. That's true. It was abrogated. Have you guys seen the Muslim community now trying to put Aisha's age at 18 or 19 when she married Muhammad, ignoring their own hadith and of the age of... Oh, they've been doing that. That used to be the standard response.
Yeah, it's still going around. It's no longer public. It's no longer popular among the famous dawah guys, but some people are still doing that. I recently heard on a Twitter Spaces that 8,000 people were watching or so at that time, where Tommy Robinson was. Somebody came in and started arguing that Aisha it's actually proven that she was 18 years old, and all the claims that she was only 9 years old, they rely on debunked sources and so on. Some people still try to do this, but it is ridiculous. And then the same person, by the way, goes on and says, and did you know, by the way, that Prophet Muhammad's first wife, Khadijah, she was 25 years older than him. this is very funny. I made a video about this specifically a while ago, because you can't argue that it is unreliable, the information that Muhammad's wife Aisha was not 6 years old at marriage and 9 years old in consummation, and then continue and argue after that. So you can't dispute that and then argue that his first wife was actually 25 years older, because for that claim we have little
very
to
weak
no
sources
evidence at all. We have
no
tons
of sources on Aisha.
Yeah, we have on Aisha. It is agreed,
and
it
from
is
herself, and we have
standards
sources from
agreed.
herself,
Yeah.
from Aisha
They go
herself.
to herself. They are authenticated by Islamic standards. It is agreed that she was 6 years old at marriage and 9 years old at consummation. For the first wife, we have zero authentic sources. Zero.
Yeah, and so that's another kind of Islamic dilemma, and I'm fine with that one. I've done debates on this, and when I debate this, it's a rare situation where I don't care who wins. In other words, you occasionally get into a debate, very rare, where you can say, I'm totally fine with my opponent winning this one because of what it will prove. So, for instance, when I debated Robert Spencer and Jay Smith, different times, but when I debated them on the existence of Muhammad, my main argument was principle of embarrassment. If Muhammad wasn't a real person, there's no way people would have invented all this embarrassing stuff about him delivering revelations from Satan and so on. Well, like, why would you invent that sort of thing? So it's principle of embarrassment. If you were inventing a new character for a new religion to get people to rally around, you wouldn't have included all this stuff that was very embarrassing to you and you had to respond to it. Like Muhammad's relationship with Zainab. Took the wife of his own adopted son. That was very embarrassing. There are like tons of responses trying to argue back and forth about this. Why would you invent that entire fake discussion? Because according to them, that was a fake discussion. It never happened. So you'd have to say why. Why are you sitting there? Hey, let's invent a guy, and let's say he delivered the satanic verses, and let's say he took the wife of his own adopted son, and then abolished adoption in order to justify it. You'd have to say a lot. And so I use principle of embarrassment as my main argument, knowing, okay, at the end of this debate, you either agree with me that we know that Muhammad existed, but only because of all this horrible information about him, or you agree with Robert and Jay that the sources are so unreliable and fabricated that we can't even know Muhammad existed. Guess what? I don't care who wins. I don't care, right? If you show that the Muslim sources are so incredibly unreliable that they can't be entrusted even with Muhammad's existence, hey, you go. You have to really trash the sources. I'm fine with that. And so, when it comes to this debate, can you avoid the conclusion that Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl? Yes, we have over 200 sources saying that Aisha was 9 years old. If you want to reject that, you have to just blast away at Hadith methodology. You have to say Hadith methodology is extremely unreliable because you have lots of Sahih narrations talking about this. And so the only way for you to really show that we don't know how old Aisha was or that she may have been older, the only legitimate way is to say that the hadiths are just severely unreliable and can't be trusted. Guess what? I'm fine with that. If you win the debate on Muhammad's relationship with Aisha, using that method, just blasting away at the Muslim sources, I'm totally fine with you winning that debate. What I don't like is for an Orthodox Sunni Muslim who trusts the hadith to then lie about what's in the hadith and to say that, he's done the math and concluded that she's 18 or 19. No, you didn't. Not taking those sources seriously. Like Kenny Bomer, he takes the sources seriously and claims that he's somehow discovered that she's older. No, you didn't. That's just completely deceptive. Throw out the sources and I will be totally on board. So I'd love to debate a Muslim on this who just like blasts away at the sources, because I wouldn't care if I lose that one, as long as he trashes the sources. It would be good.
It's
Fun
always
stuff.
Sunni.